I wanted to start with a big picture question about some of these tax increases that are being talked about at the moment. Do you think the primary reason for those is to redistribute wealth for fairness reasons, or is it to pay for the spending? Because have we not learnt in recent years that, in fact, spending doesn't need to be necessarily like for like paid for by taxation?
So I think that there's a fundamental question of how much of this new spending should be paid for. I was very much an advocate when we were in the crisis that it should be done through deficit financing. But I must say, I am still one who believes that as we emerge from the crisis, it is important to pay for the things that we think it's important to invest in. And whether the investment is in the physical infrastructure, the human capital, we're dealing with some of the other issues that are in these plans, I think it's appropriate to pay for them. I think the sources of revenue fix things in our tax system that are unfair and that will actually address some of the questions that have become so paramount about inequality of distribution of income and wealth. But I think it's also a question of how important it is to pay for these initiatives. If the appetite for the new programs is great enough, it will stimulate more interest in finding the sources of revenue to cover those costs.
When you consider the topic of corporate tax rates, which we just mentioned, looking like it might be a little lower than people thought, 25 to 28, do you think that will come into play at the same time as these international efforts to establish a global minimum corporate tax rate? And if that doesn't happen, would you be more reticent about hiking the US rate?
So I think if you look at where the corporate tax rate was set in 2017, when it was set at 21%, it was way below what anyone in the business community had actually thought the goal was for the years before that, when there was much discussion and even negotiation about business tax reform. The goal when I was at Treasury for the business community was to get to 25%. So I think getting from 21 to 25 is very low-hanging fruit. I believed at the time I was at Treasury, and I believe now, that 28% would not be an uncompetitive rate. And the question is it important to raise the revenue for the very important investments that they would finance? In terms of the international situation, the administration is proposing a number of things that I think make the 28% rate one that would work. They're proposing taking the minimum tax and instead of having it apply on an average basis, have it apply country by country. They're very actively working in the international community to get other countries to come along. And I think the combined effect of these efforts would be to have the global standard rise, and the U.S. would be at an appropriate place in it. I think we're just at the beginning of a discussion. I don't know where the end point is, but I think the whole package does work, and I certainly hope that there's ambition in getting enough revenue from it to make a significant difference.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.